Hi, my name is Monica Ramirez, and I'm the president and co-founder of the Latinx House. And I am thrilled to be here with you, along with the co-founders of the Latinx House, Alex Martinez-Kondrecki and Olga Segura. Last year, we launched the Latinx House at Sundance 2020, and we are back stronger than ever for Sundance 2021. The Latinx House was created to celebrate the excellence of the Latinx community. Excellence in entertainment, in organizing, in community building, and all the ways that our community contributes to this nation. We're a nonprofit organization, and we are so fortunate to have the support of all of you and so many others who are part of our Latinx House community. Welcome to our casa.
Today, we are so proud and so honored to have icon Rita Moreno here with us tonight in a conversation with two other icons of the Latinx community, Gloria and Emilion Estefan.
Querida Rita, Gloria y Emilio, es un placer tenerlos en casa. Rita, muchas felicidades por esta premier. Esperamos con ansias poder estar contigo en persona y celebrar este gran logro y esta película tan hermosa que nos has entregado. Muchas felicidades. Salud.
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 Hi, everybody. I'm Gloria Estefan.
I'm Emilion Estefan.
And we are here because, first of all, because we're huge fans and so proud of the legacy of Rita Moreno. And because I bet you I can get some dirt out of her that nobody else can. Let's see. Rita!
It's only one.
How are you, baby? You look fabulous.
Okay, I think I'm leaving the room. You're gonna force some stuff out of me, huh?
No, listen, friends tell friends things, so.
Not on television, dear.
Well, listen, you told quite a bit here on this documentary that you are putting out to the world.
People are going to be surprised. People are going to be surprised everything you're going to talk about in the documentary.
You're right
It's an amazing, amazing film. I loved every minute of it. I learned things about you that I didn't know. And I want to know some more now that I saw that woman. So how about if we get at it?
Okay.
I miss you. I miss hugging you.
Oh, I know.
The fact that you're the size, my size.
I feel the same way. And I also miss that old guy you've got next to you.
This dude here?
Yes.
You know how much we
I
love.
miss both of you a lot. Now, I'm sure everybody's saying, yeah. Come on, get on with the interview.
Exactly. Well, by the way, I've always had secretly worried that if it were any other moment, you'd try to steal him away from me. Is that
You're right.
Is that something you do?
I think he's sexy. And, I think humor is very sexy in a man. And don't ask me why, because it's a very convoluted answer and it would take up the whole interview.
You don't have to tell me why.
This is a classic. You tell him this is a
So I'll
classic.
tell you what, in a very short order, I'll say that humor is sexy to me because it means, in my twisted head, that the man is in charge, that someone who can be fast and funny is someone who could take care of me because they're quick. They're quick to defend. They're quick to just look at. To me, that means that I'm being taken care of. And
I agree with
obviously,
you.
here I am, an 89-year-old woman talking about a man taking care of me. I don't even know.
Which is interesting because in the documentary, you're kind of not happy about that. You wanted to be in charge, although you were looking for.
No. You misunderstand. You got to see that movie again.
But at the end, you were
No.
happy.
What I'm saying is that I don't like anyone to control me. There's a difference between protecting and controlling, which my husband did not understand either.
Yeah.
And big difference.
Well, control, there's a good word, because in your career, you were a studio player. You started as a studio player, which probably I wasn't one, but I can imagine from everything I hear from studio actors was that control was like a key word. In what ways did the studio control you that really bothered you? Like, because I know you talk a little bit about it, but what can you remember that really?
It was, I remember it too well. Control in the case of myself at MGM was simply being told or being told to do certain parts in certain movies. And what happened is that I went to MGM with such dreams because it was my dream studio. It's a place where Judy Garland lived and Gene Kelly lived and Ann Miller, all these great musical performers. And I went there with such illusions. And in my case, it just turned out that all the parts that I had to play were always ethnic. And ethnic in not the most flattering way, too. And MGM really fixed that image in the minds of a lot of people, including other studios. So for years and years and years, I was always playing the ethnic person.
Exactly.
And
even now, aren't we battling that even now? Because
yes, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yes, I mean, for me now at this age, is the wife pouring or the grandma pouring the café bustelo, coffee pourer, in other words. And not only that, oh God, do I have a lot to say about that? And I'm sure you do too, I can tell. And the problem is that I think that we, the Latino community, have in a way they don't mean to, have put us in silos so that we are not supporting each other in the way that I think we need to. One of the problems, I think, I mean, I've talked about this a lot with Latino friends. We're from Mexico, we're from Spain, we're from Puerto Rico, we're from Cuba. And in an odd way, that separates us even from each other. And I think we need to do a much better job supporting. I mean, look at the Black community. It's brilliant what they've done. Absolutely brilliant. The movies, they get to do movies. We haven't had one movie. This is so distressing to me.
Yes, but I think that it's up to us to make those movies, because the Black community, the African Americans their directors have stepped up and they've made amazing movies that, to me, it doesn't matter that it's an African American film. I find it as interesting, as exciting as anything, because they're human beings and they're making great story about human beings. I tell Emilio all the time that the world in general suffers from Latin confusion. Like if you listen to the song Isla Bonita from Madonna, the words say tropical, the island breeze, and when the sun would play a flamenco guitar, which is Spain, and then it talks about the samba, then it talks about, so it's really, they lump us all into one category, although we are vastly different and each country has its own flavor. And Cuba and Puerto Rico, they say un pájaro las dos alas, from one bird the two wings, meaning that we're very similar. Even our flags, for God's sake, are the same flag, but with the inverted colors. Right. But sometimes people have a tough time differentiating between our cultures, like you said.
I know. They talk about to Puerto Ricans about tacos and all that kind of stuff. They really don't understand. They don't get it. And I think it's really up to us. Obviously, no one else is going to do it for us, so we have to do it. My sadness is that I am 89, and I don't think I'm going to be around to see when we really join and help each other in a way that is meaningful.
Do you think it's about competition at all? Because there were such few roles for Latinos in Hollywood.
But you know what? Why does it always have to be Latino? I remember seeing Raúl Julia, great actor,
of course,
great human being, playing the part of a man, a lawyer in a movie, a lawyer named Sandy. That is not a Spanish, in any way, Latino name.
Exactly.
And I remember seeing that and I'm thinking, wow, breakthrough, how fantastic. It was a movie, I think, with Michael Douglas. And with his accent and all, he was playing a guy named Sandy. Well, does it always have to be just Latino?
Absolutely. Did you ever get to meet Rita Hayworth? Because there's a story where she I didn't know she was Latina, ever.
She was a Spanish heritage, because her uncle was my dancing teacher, Paco Cancino. And the dancing Cancinos were very famous in America. for teaching dance. And who went to him? I think Fosse studied with one of the Angel Cancino, one of the Cancinos. But I'm getting distracted because
did it make you change your name? Did you choose your name, Rita Moreno?
Oh, you'll love this. When I went to, my name is Rosa Dolores Alberio, Rosita for the diminutive. And when I went to MGM, the casting director called me into his office and he said, we got to change your name because it was Alberio.
Right.
And Alberio, you cannot pronounce the name properly. Nobody. Alvarado, Alvarez. So, I was ready to change it. And the casting director said, got to change your name. I said, I know. And he says, it's too Italian.
Okay.
And it was the kind of, those were the days when I didn't dare say anything because I didn't want to get in trouble. And I wanted to stay at that studio forever because it's a studio of my dreams. So he thought of some names that were really hilarious now, especially. The best one was, what about, hey, he said, what about Orchid Montenegro?
Oh, my
Oh. Orchid Montenegro.
Orchid, can you imagine our
Sound like a plant.
And you saying to me, hey, Orchid, how you doing? Orchid.
Orquídea.
You know something.
As shy as I was and as timid as I was, I just said, I don't think so. And finally we settled on Rita because he said, well, that's Rita Hayworth. And before he could say anything terrible, I said, yes, that's fine. That's good. And Moreno was my stepfather's name. So that's how that happened.
You know something, what I was listening to you now, that you know how much we admire you because you know something, you are a pride to all of us. And you don't know how everybody loves you because what you've done is leaving a legacy, such a beautiful, the career. But for us was difficult, even was probably, 20 or 30 years afterwards. I know how difficult when they told me we have to change our name. We said, we're going to change it. And, changing the music, take the tumbao and take the drums and take this. In the long run, Rita, what you've done is we admire you and we salute you because, we love you because of who you are. What you've done for Puerto Rico, but for Latinos. You reunite Latinos and we're so proud of you. I just want to tell you that we love you and you know how close we are to you. To me, to produce your album, I can tell you, nobody's more professional than you. You are unbelievable. Every day in the studio, we talk about you, how professional, how nice you are to people. And how
then in the evenings, I would say, get out the wine.
That
was the best part of the
but
recording day.
It's the real truth. It's the real truth.
Okay, I want some cheese, though. I want some cheese here because when I watched your Oscar speech, the shortest, I think, in existence, I want to know what was going through your mind when you got nominated for that Oscar. Like, did you think really, I mean, deep down inside, you must have thought you're nominated, so there's a chance that you could win it. Did you not even prepare in the least?
I didn't prepare because I was so sure that Judy Garland would win for a movie called
Judgment in Nuremberg.
Judgment at Nuremberg, right. And I didn't prepare. No, I really didn't prepare, obviously. and I've been trying to make up for that ever since. I don't shut up for a second.
What would you say different?
That is the world's shortest speech ever.
I'm giving you the Oscar right now. What would you say right now?
You know what I would do? I would probably accept this on the part of every young actor of Hispanic descent. I would accept it on behalf of all the people that nobody knows anybody about, doesn't know about. And obviously it would be not as clumsy as this, but it would have everything to do with being Latina. And I tell you, I really regret not having prepared something, but I was so sure I wasn't going to win. I really was so sure. And by the way, you have to go to YouTube and see the announcement of my name by Rock Hudson, because as soon as my name is announced, that was my mother in back of me who hugged me. That was my mommy. It was so wonderful. Lovely, lovely moment. But I remember going to receive the Oscar on stage and saying to myself, don't run. don't run. It's not dignified. Well, because a lot of actresses very often would run to the stage in case the applause stopped. You know how performers are.
No, and sometimes it's a long way to
No,
go.
you don't want to enter the stage with no sound.
Exactly. And depending on where you are in that room, if you're in the back, you've got to book it down there.
Right.
You're
And,
right,
and
you've
I
got
was
to
in the
music.
middle, actually. And I thought, even if the applause stops, don't run. And I didn't. So I'm very proud of myself for that, but I'm certainly not proud of that shameful, sad little speech.
What did you do that night afterwards to celebrate?
First of all, the most fun is not what I did afterwards, is what happened when I went backstage into the wings, and Joan Crawford, who was the hostess, who was drunk as a skunk. She was a big drinker.
I just watched Mommy Dearest again, so I feel you.
She was a famous drinker, and she was married to Mr. Pepsi Cola. I don't remember his name. And she had a Pepsi cooler in her dressing room with Pepsis and vodka.
Oh my gosh.
And she kept sipping all night. So by the time I went into the wings, that's when I started to cry. Interestingly, that's when I allowed myself to feel. And she grabbed me. She saw a photographer who was there to take the first pictures coming into the wings. And she grabbed me and pushed my face into her enormous shoulders. She was built like a linebacker. And she said, "Oh, there." And the photographer's trying to take a picture of both of us, but he can't because
Right.
my head is squashed into her chest. And he said, Miss Crawford, would you let her go a little bit so that I can take a picture? She says, no. She's so upset. There, dear. And she's crushing me. She won't let me. She had a death grip on me.
She didn't want your face in the
opportunity.
picture.
It was an opportunity to have a picture with an Oscar winner. And she wouldn't let me go. She kept saying, there, don't be upset. And I kept saying, I'm not upset.
I'm suffocated.
I'm happy. And he finally, literally, he had to wrest me from her arms so he could take the picture.
Do you remember your mom's first words to you afterwards? Because I know she didn't get a chance to say right there when you won it, but
Oh, she was, I don't remember her first words, but she used to call me Nani because that's what my baby brother used to call me. So she said, Nani, Nani, Nani. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And she's crying. And I started to see, I did all my crying and all the emotional stuff after I was on camera. And she was bursting with pride. And there's a picture, and I'm trying to remember who we were talking to. There is a picture of me, which I have in a phone booth with my mother standing by me. And I don't know who I was talking to. It's killing me. I don't know.
Called someone that was important, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Did Mr. Mayor ever bring up anything about?
Well, I wasn't on the contract to mayor. That I had been dropped a long time ago.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like when you won that Oscar, did you ever run into him anywhere to be able to,
I think
rub it in his face?
I think he was dead by then.
Oh, okay.
I think
no rubbing in his face then, absolutely. How was he as a boss? I mean, I know you talked about it a little bit.
He was a dirty old man. He had a terrible reputation. He used to sit girls on his lap and let them slip between his legs.
Yeah.
He was not a nice person. And of course, people like that always had a notion of how women should behave and be ladylike. But apparently he was really a dirty, dirty old man who messed
That's
around.
probably why he had that
Madonna. I'll tell you a wonderful story about that kind of thing. I had a girlfriend named Betty. She and I were in the Hollywood Studio Club, and she was in show business, kind of peripherally. And she got a contract. She actually got a contract with the Fox, where I was under contract later on. And apparently, oh gosh, who was the head of Fox? Who was the famous head of Fox?
No.
Oh God.
Whoever. We'll look it up.
I can't believe it. Does anybody there know? So we can start the story again?
Not on my end. These are kids over here.
Don't mention his name. Just mention the head of Fox.
But you know, he was somebody like Selznick, somebody very, very, he was the head of 20th Century Fox. And Zanuck,
Okay.
Daryl Zanuck.
Right.
She was called into his office at his request. And Betty was a big girl, bosomy and all that. And she was from Texas. And you could not mistake it for anything else. He was definitely from Texas. And he welcomes her into his office. And before you know it, he takes it out.
It.
She takes it out. His wee-wee. I'll be nice. And she literally went, oh, you are so bad. She says, you put that thing away. Shame on you. You put that thing away.
Oh my gosh.
Don't you love her? She
Absolutely.
Twice, like, this is Zanuck and it's his penis. And maybe I should respect his penis. You know, no, nothing like that. She was so offended.
Look, the police here is coming to arrest Zanuck as we speak right now. You hear him in the background. No, but you know what? Is that maybe the reason why we never heard of Betty after that? In any of the roles or any
likely.
show business?
Very likely.
When you think back on your life, what are the things that stand out in a professional way for you? Like, obviously the Oscar must be one of them, but what are the things that made you happiest to do professionally?
I'll tell you, it was almost always professionally, it was playing a role that wasn't stereotyped, because even in West Side Story, you know, putting on that ultra dark makeup.
Yes.
In fact, my skin is very different from that. And they didn't understand that Puerto Ricans come in many colors.
Exactly. Well, you can see the difference of your body and your face.
Yeah. So anyway, it was always when I was offered something that had not much to do with Hispanics, not because I wasn't proud of who I am, but because I was so locked into a stereotype that I couldn't get out of. So when I was offered a movie like, oh God, see, this is what happens when you're 85, by the way.
Hey, listen, I'm
only
85 and I don't remember.
It's the only part of 89 that sucks. And with me, I have a running battle with nouns. Nouns no longer like me anymore. But so where was I? See, I forget.
Just tell us about what the film was about.
The film, it was Mike Nichols.
Okay.
And Jules Pfeiffer wrote the script. Carnal Knowledge.
You remember oh my gosh. What an amazing film.
Great movie. And so way ahead of its time. It's never played in Georgia, by the way. The Georgia Supreme Court just
Well, it might now.
Isn't that funny? Yes. But I was thrilled about that because Mike wanted me for a part that had nothing to do with being a type, particularly a Hispanic stereotype. Of course, I kept wondering, well, why would he choose me for the part of a call girl?
Because you're sexy.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
But when I was chosen for things like that, I was thrilled to death. I was thrilled doing a movie called Papi with Alan Arkin, who was playing a Puerto Rican at the time. I was thrilled about that because it was a real Puerto Rican or a Hispanic woman. It was not one of those, why don't you love me anymore, junkie?
Right.
You know, that
Did he ask you for tips on being Puerto Rican?
He what?
Did he ask you for tips on how to be Puerto Rican?
No, he did his own work.
And did you feel it was up to snuff?
The accent was not thrilling. I don't think.
Did it bother you that he wasn't Puerto Rican and playing a Puerto Rican?
Did. But you know what? I so fell in love with him. He's such a lovely man that I kept rooting for him. But, only in movies would someone like Alan Arkin be chosen, who was brilliant. That has nothing to do with it. But, it's only in movies would somebody like him be chosen for that role. God forbid they should choose a Hispanic man. God forbid.
Yeah, things have changed. In that respect, they've changed a bit because of pressure from other people.
But not enough.
Not enough, but now I think with people having a say, because before no one had a say really, but now with social media and being able to organize and complain about, maybe it's going over, to me, in my estimation, I think we're going over the edge a little too much sometimes, because everyone has an opinion, whether you deserve to be up in a
do they ever?
Oh my gosh, and that's tough too. It's the other end. But for example, of all the roles that you did, was there one that you would have not done now in retrospect?
Many. You know how many Indian girls I played, American Indian girls, with here's the thing. I never knew when I was offered those roles, I never knew how an American Indian person would speak. So I use a kind of quasi-Latino accent. Everything I played, an Egyptian princess, an American Indian girl, always sounded a little bit like this, because I didn't know what else to do.
Like a cross accent.
Says, what accent are you using there? Nobody cared. Nobody, there were no people, there was nobody. Like on the new West Side Story that Steven has made, Spielberg, I'm referring to, we had a fellow, Victor Cruz, who calls himself Victor Cruz. We had a fellow who helped literally with the Puerto Rican accent. We had a person who helped with the New York accent, because the movie is still in period, it's 1957. And I mean, I think they went to so much trouble to be as authentic as possible. And here I am, all these years back, playing Indian princesses, Egyptian princesses with costumes that you would never wear in life, that they would put me into. I mean, I did one of those Father Knows Best, where I was playing, what was her name? Something like Yan Yan or Gugu or what the hell, what was it? And I'm thinking, how do you speak with an Egyptian accent? Well, there it is. There's the Spanish accent again. So I was talking like this a little bit.
Let me ask you, is anything
terrible.
you don't?
It's funny, but it was terrible.
Is anything you don't, Rita, that you would like to do differently? That what in the time, anything you regret that you done? That you feel, listen, if it's...
I regret a lot of things, because I did a lot of things to pay the rent. I did a lot of things to, and let's not underestimate the importance of that.
Yeah.
Because, when I look now at people, ethnic people doing parts that are really beneath them, I don't get angry and I don't criticize, because I know that they have to earn money.
Absolutely. It's a craft.
And if that's the business you're in, then that's what you're going to do.
You were a working actor. I mean, let's be real. You may not have gotten.
You see,
had you not
that now,
right?
Because
had you not gotten all those roles, maybe you wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to grow and to do something else, because at the time you were also building a name. It's a slippery slope when you decide, oh, I'm not going to do this for a future role, when it could literally end your career and stop working at all. So,
after West Side Story, I said, okay, because I not only got the Oscar, a lot of people forget that I got the Golden Globe, which is the Foreign Press Award.
Yes.
And I promised myself that I would never do that kind of part again. And I showed them. I didn't do a movie for 7 years. That's a long time. Mm-hmm. So what did I do? I went to summer stock theater. I did lots and lots of summer stock, where I played all kinds of parts that had nothing to do with nationality. I did, I played Lola, whatever Lola wants, in Damn Yankees. I played what was that wonderful play about the Helen Keller with the sign language? You remember that?
Yes.
I played the Irish teacher. And people were kind of amazed in a way. It was a bit insulting that I could do an Irish accent. I could do that way too. But it's so amazing that they do. Oh, you do that very well. And I remember saying, well, why wouldn't I? I'm playing an Irish woman. Well, that's true, but what? I mean, I get very defensive.
Because they assume that you would have an accent a Hispanic accent, which you don't. And it's very
Yeah.
confusing to people because they expect you to
Well,
have it.
people who think that way, yeah, it was crazy. But really, summer theater was really saved my life. I did a lot of plays. I did Bells Are Ringing as musicals. I did a bunch of musicals. And I played a man in one of them, which was marvelous.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's the only way that saved my emotional life, really.
You know what, Rita, though? I think, and I may be wrong, but from what I hear, it happens to a lot of actors, and not because they're Hispanic, that when they win an Oscar, it's almost like if studios are afraid, first of all, you're going to be way more expensive.
You got that right.
Yes. Second of all, they think you're going to have a lot more control. They're going to want more things. So they might shy away because, like you say, especially at that time, it was all about the control of.
It's
the
true.
people that
And
were
you
in
know,
here.
it's probably accurate in the sense that a lot of people said, okay, now I'm really important and you're going to pay through the nose. And then a lot of people would say, no, we're not. Look at
Exactly. So,
thank you.
yeah, I think,
I know that's part of it, but it more than anything, I was offered nothing but gang movies after that. Really.
Yeah.
Gang movies of a lesser quality. Gang movies of a lesser quality. The
Did your
first movie
personal
I
life
did
change?
after all of that was Papi, playing
Right.
Alan Arkin's girlfriend.
Did your personal life change after the Oscar? Did family or friends treat you differently? Did anything in that respect change? And by the way, did you ever meet up with your brother again? Because I know that in the documentary, you say you never saw him again.
After my book was published, my autobiography, I made another attempt one more time to find where he was. I couldn't find him. We couldn't find him. My husband tried also. I found out that he had died
Oh, I'm so sorry.
of a drug overdose.
Oh, that's so sad.
Oh, it's a terrible story because I will never get over it. I feel very, very guilty for not having tried harder.
You were a child when you were pulled away.
Yes, all of that. And also, I was raised in a very peculiar way because my mother, I mean, how could my mother do that? Think of it. How do you leave a child behind forever? The excuse was initially, and maybe it wasn't even an excuse, she probably meant, well, that she would go back and get him. And she never did. And I would ask about him a lot, and then less and less and less. And I forgot.
He stayed with your father, correct?
He stayed with with my father.
Right. So maybe your father was the one that laid down the law and said, if you're leaving, you can't take. So like each of them had one.
I'll tell you what, I had a run-in with my father, and it was literally almost a run-in in New York City when I had just started in movies, and I'd done one, I think, Toast of New Orleans with Mario Lanza. And a bunch of us from the MGM studios was asked to go on a little tiny tour. And we ended up somewhere in, I remember it was Westchester, appearing in a theater on behalf of MGM Studios. And they were playing an MGM movie at the time. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't mine. And I go backstage. Oh, I remember Katy Jurado was with us.
Oh, wow.
So she was appearing with us. She was marvelous.
Yes.
Did you know her?
Incredible. Yes. Incredible.
Oh, what a big mouth. I loved her. I loved her. Oh, I'm going to veer away from this story because this is better.
Okay.
I knew her at MGM. Of course, you know, the Latinos would find each other. And we talked a lot. And I was sort of very girlish and just in love with her. And one day we were at lunch at the MGM commissary, and she said, Rita, I met Clark Gable. Clark Gable. She says, I danced with Clark Gable. And I said, who? She said, Clark Gable, you know, oh, you Clark Gable. She said, yes. I said, oh, what was he like? And the only response was this, que bruto. What a brute. That was her.
But
That was, I mean, I think she probably would have thrown him on the floor and done it with him if he had.
But you know,
Anybody.
you know what's amazing, Rita, how you reinvent yourself and you take, chances, and every single one that you've done is been unbelievable. Even this documentary is going to be amazing. People to get to know you in a different way, and that's
They
what
will.
I respect you
I'm
so
told
much.
that people say it's full of surprises.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
it
don't know
is.
what's a surprise and what isn't, really, because it's my life.
Well, you
But,
throw some great parties. That's one thing.
birthday parties.
Yes, that party was spectacular. Your 87th that we see there in the documentary film. Who were all those people? Friends, family?
Friends, family, and some of the cast from my One Day at a Time. It was a marvelous party. I give great parties.
Yes, you do. And you're a
And
stickler
it's
for detail.
always has a theme, a costume theme. That one, I think, was Cuba. Was it Cuba? Or
Yes, it
Spain?
was Cuba. Yeah.
Cuba. So we had all the Cuban dishes. I mean, everything was really as authentic as possible.
I know. I love when you say, I don't know what makes us Cuba, because you were laying down like little, the jewelry all over the buffet. You're so funny. That is something that I think people are going to really love, to see your natural humor. And of course, you had to play Lydia from One Day at a Time spectacularly, because there's a lot of, I think, a lot of you in Lydia.
Oh,
in that character.
I'm playing my mother. That's her accent too, which I love. I love doing that accent, because she would say terrible things without meaning to. Was your mom like that?
My mom was exactly like that. She had no filter, and she was kind of passive aggressive, my mom, though. So she would find a sneaky way to tell you. Like, I'll never forget the first time I performed on the Oscars. My mom called me, and the first words were, "Did you have to use that purse?" Really? I'm singing on the Oscars and you're commenting on my purse, which some stylist picked for me, by the way.
Oh, that's insane.
Oh my gosh, yes, she was.
But my mother's accent was divine. It wasn't divine when I was very young, because it was embarrassing. But one of my favorite stories, and they can always cut this out, because it involves a mistaken bad word. She was my brother, my half brother, Dennis, was graduating from high school, and we had company that day. I think we were kind of celebrating his graduation, and she said to them, "I tell you, I am so proud of him. He graduated from this wonderful school." And she called it, oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I want to say the words.
Say it. No, we're not live.
Fuck it. Now that'll fix it. That'll fix it. And she said, and somebody said to her, "What's the school?" And she said very proudly, "It is called La Cunt Junior High." Junior High. I thought my brother would just die.
Oh my God. Well, this man has introduced Janet Jackson. So
Janet Jackson.
So I know how that works.
But I'm gonna tell you, the worst thing that happened to me when I go to a restaurant and they say, "Do you want salad?" I say, "Listen, I have the accent, but I understand everything. You can say you want salad. Do you want water?" I mean, I don't know that happens.
Oh, they overemphasize.
They think he listens with an accent as well as speak with an accent.
I love when somebody knock on the door and they say, "Listen, are you ready? The room? I can come in." I'll say, "We leave in 45 minutes." And the lady tells me, "I don't speak Spanish. I'm talking to you in English. What are you talking about?"
That happens all the time.
You should know.
My favorite story of yours, and I don't care if we're taking time. My favorite story of you, when we were doing my disc, my album, we went out every night usually, and this dear man would always buy dinner and drinks for us. And you know what's coming, right? We were at was it a Japanese restaurant?
Yes.
Japanese, yeah.
Yes, right near the studio.
Because they always took me to these fabulous restaurants. These people are serious foodies. So he gets up to go to the bathroom, and excuse me, I'm going to the bathroom. Fine. And he's gone for a while, and we're all talking and joshing and carrying on. And he comes back to tell us a story of something that happened in the bathroom.
But you know why? You told me, you talk to everybody. Go quick because we got to go. You talk to everybody.
You're right. You're right. That's right. Because he talks to everybody. People stop him, and that's it. He's gone for 10 minutes at least. People love him. And he's in the bathroom, and there are stalls that have openings at the bottom where you can see feet. And he goes into a stall, and he hears a man say, hello? And being Emilio Estevez, he says, Estefan, excuse me. He says, hello? He answers back. And the man, you have to tell the rest of this because it's
no. Listen, the guy, I went to unzip my thing, and the guy said hello. I say hello. I say how you doing? I said I'm fine. And the guy said, where are you? And I say I'm here. I say, oh my God. And the guy said, listen, I'm gonna hang up because somebody's talking to me now on the other side of the bathroom.
Crazy.
some pervert is trying to
The guy was on the phone. I think you almost wet your pants that day.
I never seen you
know
laugh like that.
I wet my undies.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing all the way home. I kept.
I remember.
Because this
Rita,
well,
if there's one thing that you could, with this documentary, what is your prime
I
objective?
love you. You keep getting back to the subject at hand.
Yeah, exactly. That's my job. It's my
that's
job.
That's your job.
Yes, it's my job. What would you like any aspiring Latinx young man or woman that sees this? What would you want them to be a takeaway for them in their career or in their life for whatever they do?
I think it's very important for them to understand that they're not alone when they have problems, racial problems. That it happened way before they were born, and it happened to someone like me. And more often than not, they will see me as someone who has had success, and of course, all of the awards. And I think it's important. I think the documentary has a real community service kind of message. It's as though I'm doing this for people who have felt terrible about who they are, who are made to feel terrible about who they are. And it's a message that says nobody is invaluable. Everyone has value. You have value. And don't let anyone ever tell you what you should do with your life. If you want to do this, and it doesn't have to be show business. If you want to be a great carpenter, you can be. You need to believe that you can accomplish this. That's what I think the documentary is about. That's why I said yes to it. Because Brent Miller, the producer, along with Norman Lear, that was his idea. He said, you had such an amazing life. And let me tell you something else that's interesting. When I saw it, I've only seen it once, and it was over, I turned around and said, wow, I've had quite a life. You don't perceive it that way. Do you?
Exactly. No, you don't sit there and think about those things until you're seeing a retrospective or one of those clips they prepare when you're going to get an award that you've seen everything compiled. Are you happy and fulfilled with what you've done? Do you want to do more?
Fulfilled? No. I'm still waiting for some wonderful part that has nothing to do necessarily with being Hispanic or not being Hispanic. I want to do something that takes me very seriously. Let's put it that way.
Is there one role you would
my
have loved
age
to
that's
play?
very hard to do.
Forget about your age. Is there one role that you would have loved to play in all the roles?
Yes, absolutely. Everything that Meryl Streep has done.
Right. Yeah, she's played a man too, and we believed it.
Yeah, she's fabulous. That's
like you, she's warm and wonderful and humble and just an amazing, and her craft. I got the intense honor to have my very first on-screen role, one-on-one with Meryl Streep, which I was dying inside. And
really?
She made me, yes, in Music of the Heart. And I thought I was going to die. And she made me as comfortable as you did when I came out to work with you on One Day at a Time, that it was daunting with that
But
amazing cast.
you had a raving lunatic fan in me.
Well,
Come on.
and you have one in me, and I thank you so much, because when they shot the documentary, I said so many wonderful things about you that "Hey, you guys" is not the, which is what they ended up using, is not the takeaway from your career. You gave me hope, being a Latina, being a woman, being this incredible artist that you are, to watch you on the screen, both large and small. And, a lot of people, I said a story in there about us and the Ritz, which has a very personal story with us, because I took him when we were dating.
It's a play that I did called The Ritz.
Yes, but I went to see the movie. I took him to see the movie you did of the Ritz.
Yeah.
And he told me that day, he was testing me, I guess, we were just dating. He told me that he had an illegitimate child. I think he wanted to see my reaction, which was not good, because when I started asking him, but did you give the child your name? Do your parents know? And then he fell into yeah, he was kidding. And he ruined the movie for me. He ruined the movie because I was crying through the whole movie that I had wanted to go for you to make me laugh. So there you go.
You were lying.
You were lying. He was testing me to see what I would
was
say.
waiting. Let me do something.
Why did you do this? Why?
I was kidding I was kidding, and Gloria would say, "Oh, do you have any girlfriend?" I said, "Well, I have a kid." I said, "What are you talking? You have a kid?" I said, afterward, I didn't know how to pull out. At the end, I said, "I'm kidding, Gloria."
And then I just didn't believe him. So, yeah. So that was with your movie, The Ritz, that I went because I'm such a fan.
And you cried through it.
And I cried through the entire movie, Rita. So I had to go back and watch it a second time without this bozo pulling something like that on me.
But I'm gonna tell you, we live in a time that it's been so difficult because everything is happening that sometimes, it's been a tough year, of course. But in the end, it's a legacy. I think we are so proud of the legacy you leave. I'm not trying to be so nice to you, because you know how much we love you. You inspire a lot of people, Rita.
Yes, you have.
A lot of people, and we're so proud.
And
we love you.
To.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're gonna keep doing things. So that the things with you, you're never gonna stop, baby.
Yeah. Thank you.